Warm greetings from the High 10. It is the Vault XL. Thank you all so much. As most of you know, Donald Trump has some personal issues. He's been indicted on hush money paid to Stormy Daniels and also fraud. We're going to bring you this set information. Thank you for joining me. WFAA News 8 ABC is the source. Thank you for your time.
Today, former President Donald Trump arriving in New York to face criminal charges after a Manhattan grand jury indicted him in relation to the alleged $130,000 in hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels shortly before the 2016 election. Trump's former lawyer and fixer, Michael Cohen, pled guilty and served prison time, in part due to his admission he arranged those payments. Trump's arraignment is set for Tuesday at New York State Supreme Court, where he'll be facing about 24 criminal counts, including felonies, according to sources familiar with the matter.
This is unprecedented. We have Secret Service involved. I understand they're closing the courthouse for the afternoon. I just don't know what to expect to see.
We're told Trump will not be handcuffed while he's booked and processed, and that there will be no other court proceedings on the 15th floor where he'll be arraigned. His attorney says he will plead not guilty.
The weaponization of our justice system is not, as some have called it, a political spectacle.
Trump has made numerous verbal attacks against Bragg and more recently Judge Juan Merchan, who's presiding over his criminal case, claiming Merchan hates him. Those comments prompting a warning from the former Manhattan DA who started a hush money investigation years ago, long before Trump announced his 2024 presidential bid.
If I were his lawyer, I would be mindful of not committing some other criminal offense like obstruction of governmental administration, which is interfering with or by threat or otherwise the operation of government.
Security around the courthouse now on high alert, with NYPD bracing for any possible protests. Trump's legal team is opposing cameras in the courtroom tomorrow, saying it'll create a circus-like atmosphere. The DA's office has taken no position, and the judge has yet to rule. Emlyn, ABC News, outside the courthouse in Lower Manhattan.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. It's WFAA News, ABC 8. So how do you feel about cameras in the courtroom pertaining to this indictment against Donald Trump? Should cameras be in the courtroom? I think they should. As for the allegations against the judge, which we know this is what happens with Donald Trump, anybody that opposes him, he has a problem with them. He always has to say something negative about him or her. And this happened when he first started running for office, and then bringing people into the fold when he became the president. Things didn't go his way with that said person. He would lash out, say negative things about that person. As you hear in this commentary, his attorney needs to say to him, which it probably won't make a difference because it'll be as if you're talking to the wall. Hey, you need to be quiet. You don't need to say anything about the judge not liking you. The judge has no bearing on who comes before him in his or her courtroom. That's the law. They don't have a bearing. The judge has no bearing on who comes in his or her courtroom. So to say the judge doesn't like me is very childish, but that is the behavior of Mr. Trump. That's how he's behaved throughout running for office and being the president. So long as someone has something negative to say about him, they're this, they're that, they don't like me. And these were people that he even inducted into a certain position in the White House. Okay? So long as they began to talk and tell things or had a difference of opinion with him, then they are public enemy number one. This judge is not your friend. He didn't play golf with you. He doesn't know you. How do you know if he likes you or not? You don't know, because it doesn't matter. He's there to officiate. So to say anything about the judge is disrespectful to the court. But that's Donald Trump. And this is the same person that people have revered and put on a pedestal, and still revere and put on a pedestal, and feels like he needs to still remain president, be president again. Oh, the country was greater with him. Well, I beg to differ. We still have problems in this country. We had problems when he was the president. We have problems now, and he's not the president, because that's the point. It doesn't matter who the president is. People are people. People are vile. We're in heinous times. We're in desolate times right now. May even be going to a recession again. It's bad. Let me read you a little bit of commentary pertaining to what is supposed to happen in New York City. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $BigAngie, 129 Cash App. All stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. Sorry I have not been on. I'm in dire straits at the moment. The Queen is in between finding somewhere to live. So that is why I have not been on live. I've been transitioning, putting things in storage, and it's just been very dire for the Queen right now. So that is the reason why I have not been on the live, bringing you commentary, because I've just got a lot going on right now. So I apologize, but I thank you for following this network, those who tune into my community page for the said updates and storylines. Thank you for your time. I had a little downtime, so I decided to come on live. So I don't want people to feel like I have forgotten about the network. Reuters.com is the source. Trump plans to plead not guilty to the charges, and they have been sealed. Judge allowed limited photography in the court. Mr. Mayor, the New York mayor, Mr. Adams, has warned of rabble-rousers to behave. Donald Trump, the ex-president and frontrunner for the Republican 2024 nomination, flew into New York City on Monday for a historic court appearance to face charges stemming from a probe into hush money paid to a porn star. And I would let's say ex-porn star, Stormy Daniels. Or Daniel, excuse me. Let me say this because this was mentioned in the last commentary I played. As far as him not being handcuffed, many people who get arrested are usually handcuffed. So I find it interesting. Why not? Why should he be any different than anybody else? I also read somewhere where it said he would not have a mug shot. Why not? Because random people are arrested every day for various charges, be it murder, fraud, theft, jaywalking, whatever. And he or she is handcuffed, usually, and they also been given a mugshot. That's the law. So why not have a mugshot, number one? Number two, why not be handcuffed? Why should he be different than any other person? Thank you, Wicked. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Why should he be any different? I'm just saying. That's what's wrong with what's going on with Mr. Trump, is that he's had preferential treatments with his entities of work, being accused of fraud. Many of you have heard of the fraud with the university that he had. People signed up for those courses, and it was not to their liking or specification. Some say that these people who signed up for those courses were hoodwink and bamboozle. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm going to go ahead and finish this commentary pertaining to Mr. Trump. Once again, he is flown into New York to face these said charges, and noted some of this information is sealed and it will soon be released to the general public. With New York taking security precautions and the mayor telling potential rabble-rousers to behave, Trump was due to surrender at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office on Tuesday and will likely be fingerprinted prior to appearing before a judge for an arraignment where he will plead not guilty. Trump, 76, is the first former or sitting U.S. president to face criminal charges. Yahoo News late on Monday said Trump would face 34 felony counts for falsification of business records, citing a single source briefed on Tuesday's arraignment procedures. Yahoo said none of the charges against Trump were misdemeanors. Let me repeat. These are felony counts, not misdemeanors. Trump's plane, painted in red, white, and blue with Trump in big letters on the side, and an image of the American flag on the tail, arrived at LaGuardia Airport in Queens after a 3.5-hour flight from West Palm Beach near his Florida home. Clad in blue suit and wearing a red tie, Trump walked down a flight of stairs from the airplane, and climbed into an SUV for a drive in a motorcade to Trump Tower in Manhattan, where upon arrival, he waved to people and walked in without making public comments. Beefing up his legal team, Trump hired Todd Blanche, a prominent white-collar criminal defense lawyer and former federal prosecutor, to join his defense. Two sources familiar with the matter said Trump's lawyers opposed videography, photography, and radio coverage of the arraignment, where a defendant is brought to court to hear charges and have a chance to enter a plea, saying it would exacerbate an already almost circus-like atmosphere around this case, detracting from dignity and decorum. Well, Mr. Trump has rarely exhibited dignity and decorum in running for office and being our president. And that's my personal opinion. When did he have dignity and decorum? Because as I said, he's turned against every person that he ever inducted into a political position when he was in the White House. So this lawyer, you should beware. Mr. Cohen was once his lawyer, and he's done time and also admitted to aiding and helping Mr. Trump pay this woman money, Miss Stormy. So you might want to be leery of representing Mr. Trump, because whatever you tell him, God forbid, it will come back to bite you in your tail. I'm just saying. Judge Juan Merchant late on Monday ruled that 5 photographers would be admitted before the arraignment started to take pictures for several minutes until they must stop with cameras allowed in the hallways of the building. The Manhattan grand jury that indicted Trump heard evidence for months this year about a $130,000 payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels, because I did say Daniels, then I said Daniel. So excuse me, Miss Stormy Daniels. In the waning days of the 2016 presidential campaign, Daniels has said she was paid to keep silent about a sexual encounter she had with Trump at a Lake Tahoe hotel in 2006. Trump denies having any such relationship with her. Blanche previously represented Paul Manafort, Trump's 2016 campaign chairman, when Manafort was hit with New York State fraud charges after being sentenced to prison for federal crimes. Very interesting information. The state charges were eventually dismissed, and Trump pardoned Manafort before leaving office. Blanche also previously represented Igor Fruman, who was an associate of former Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani. The specific charges in the indictment by a grand jury convened by Bragg, a Democrat, have yet to be disclosed. Trump has said he is innocent. He and his allies have portrayed the charges as politically motivated. A motorcade of several vehicles took Trump at midday from his Mar-a-Lago estate to the airport nearby West Palm Beach. Trump climbed out of an SUV before he and members of his entourage climbed a set of stairs to enter his plane. Witch hunt as our once great country is going to hell, Trump posted on social media right before he left Florida. Trump said on social media he would head to the courthouse on Tuesday morning. Trump's campaign raised $7 million. In the 3 days afterward of the indictment emerged last Thursday, senior advisor Jason Miller said. The campaign on Monday issued the latest in a series of fundraising emails taking aim at the media's reporting on its indictment. Remarks attributed to Trump in the email stated, "Our country has fallen, but I'm not giving up on America. We can and we will save our nation in 2024. A court official said the arraignment was planned for 2:15 p.m. on Tuesday. Bragg will give a news conference afterwards. Trump will return to Florida and deliver remarks from Mar-a-Lago at 8:15 p.m. on Tuesday, on 00:15 GMT on Wednesday, his office said. The New York case is one of several probes Trump faces. A few dozen Trump fans cheered at the Florida airport and along the route he took to get there, carrying signs and flags. Our country needs him, said Cindy Falco, 65, of Boynton Beach, Florida. He's pro-God, pro-family, and pro-country. I beg to differ. I don't believe that Donald Trump cares about GOD or anybody. I believe he's self-serving, and he has always been self-serving. And when it has been said that this is the same man who didn't pay taxes for years, then how could you ever say that he is pro-country? When many of you are breaking your neck to pay mortgages and rent and taxes every year on your house, said property, and entities, and this person is walking around living high off the hog and paying no taxes to our national government. I'll wait. Falco predicted exoneration, saying nothing is going to stick to him, quote unquote. Trump's detractors also weighed in. Isn't it ironic that they couldn't get Donald Trump for all of the crimes he's committed except payment to a porn star, said New Jersey resident Robert Houston, 71, outside of Trump Tower. It always comes down to the lowliest of charges. Interesting. So you're basically admitting that he is a criminal because you said, well, he's faced charges, and the one that they can bring against him is the lowest of the low. But you think this is a person that should be your president? I'm just curious. You know that he's a fraud. You know that he's a liar and a thief. But you don't mind voting for this person. You don't mind this person being your president. And you all knew of this information before he was even elected as president, this situation with Miss Stormy. But yet some of you voted for him anyway. And I find that baffling. And I always thought that was baffling back then. That's just my personal opinion. It's a terrific day. I hope it goes well and that he's eventually found guilty, Holston added. Well, so now this guy's saying, okay, did he hope he's found guilty? Very interesting. But among the Republicans, Trump's lead has widened over rivals in the party's presidential nominating contest, conducted after news broke that Trump would face criminal charges. Some 48% of self-described Republicans say they want Trump to be their party's presidential nominee, up from 44% in March 14th, 20 poll. New York police over the weekend began erecting barricades near Trump Tower and the Manhattan Criminal Court building. Demonstrations were expected at those sites on Tuesday, which is today. Mayor Eric Adams, a Democrat, said there was no known specific security threat. While there may be some rabble-rousers thinking about coming to our city tomorrow, our message is clear and simple, which is today, Tuesday. Control yourselves. New York City is our home, not a playground for your misplaced anger, Adams told reporters. Very well said. Because we've seen what happened with his gatherings before he was elected as president, pushing people, shoving people who were in his conferences, rallies rather, and opposed his being president, running for president. You saw older people pushing on young black men in the arena. Very violent behavior for people who are supposed to be godly-like. I'm just saying. As always, we will not allow violence or vandalism of any kind. And if one is caught participating in any act of violence, they will be arrested and held accountable, no matter who you are, Adams added, specifically mentioning Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has announced plans to protest. Be on your best behavior, the mayor said. Asked whether he was worried about unrest around Trump's arraignment, President Joe Biden, touring a factory in Minnesota, said, "No, I have faith in the New York Police Department." This information was brought to you by Reuters.com. So a lot of the information pertaining to Donald Trump and said charges are sealed at the moment. And assumingly, this information will come out when he appears before the judge in court today. You're entitled to your opinion pertaining to politics. I rarely talk about politics because usually it incites a lot of mischief and mayhem and crazy nonsense. And one thing I don't like to argue is politics nor religion. But I am not a Trump fan. I've never been a Trump fan. I watched him many years ago when he was on reality TV, and that was that. That was then. But when he decided to run for public election as the president, vying for presidency, I was not a fan. When these allegations came out about him and this Stormy lady, other allegations out recently about some woman who's claiming that she was in love with him at the time, dated him after his wife gave birth to a child 3 months afterward. This is now public information. It went to show and still shows that he's a whoremonger. He has no respect for family. He has no respect for his wife. He has no respect for his children. He has no respect for people, and nor does he have respect for our country. Many people following behind him. That is your choice. But if you have a person that is willing to lie about their relations with a woman, which naturally he would lie because he was running for public office at the time. The person's going to lie about adultery, lie about finagling with this one, that one. This is the same person you want to run the country. That is your choice. Are there other politicians who have probably had affairs and dabbled in misgivings, fraud, extortion? Of course, because it's human nature. And that's really what politics is about, like any other profession. It's only a matter of if and when the person gets caught and that information gets out to the public. Okay? That's really all life is about. If and when that information gets out to the public and being revealed to the public that he or she has done something wrong, such as fraud, adultery, extortion, lied, stolen, rape, whatever the allegations are. But Trump doesn't care about anybody but himself, okay? The fact that he had all those documents down at Mar-a-Lago, for what? He had no reason to take anything from the White House. Nothing. Boxes and boxes and boxes of documents. For what? But it's the same person that some of you revel in behind, that you're upholding, that you're putting on a pedestal. This man had all these allegations coming out about him with this Stormy lady in the beginning, not during the presidency, not near the end of the presidency, beforehand. And yet you voted for him anyway. Paying her money to be quiet. Now you have another lady saying she was messing with him after his wife gave birth to their child. And yet you're still upholding this person. And the fact that he throws gasoline on anybody that differs in opinion with him. He does not know how to conduct himself civilly. He does not know how to talk. And you've never seen a president that throw gasoline on the same people they brought into the office with them. That's very rare. If the person steps down for a reason or is fired, resigns, or whatever, you've never heard a president talk bad about the same people they brought into the office with them. Donald Trump has done that. Anytime someone stepped down, let go, whatever the reason was, he threw gasoline on them. Yet he was the same one that put them in that position. That is not a professional. It's not a professional behavior. You don't throw gasoline on people publicly. You all different in opinion, okay. They decided to resign or you fired them or somebody fired them. That's the end of the conversation. You don't put them on blast. But Donald Trump has done that. And that's his persona. You're good with him. He doesn't have anything negative to say about you. But the day you decide to tell the truth on a matter or come in opposition of him, then he lights your tail up. And that's Donald Trump. And that shows his true character. So you can say all day how great America is when he was in office, this, that, and the other. To me, America was dire when he was in office because we had nothing but uprisings. We had nothing but nosy Karens and nosy Johns meddling in things, always bringing up the situation of make America great again and using that as a stepping stone to wreak havoc in this country. But that showed me what I already knew about this country, that we do have a lot of people here who are racist, a lot of angry people. And he helped aid that behavior. Donald Trump helped aid the negativity that's already been spawned here in America. And it was exacerbated when he came to office. And nobody can ever say that it was not. He helped aid all of this nonsense. These people came out and they showed you what they were made of. But that's the point. They were here before he became the president. So I don't put fully blame on him, but I feel like he's helped exacerbate people who were already tainted. Okay? People who are already tainted. And what happened on Capitol Hill, storming the gate and running up into that government building, all up in those government offices, Pelosi's office, you know that is unprofessional. And these are the same people who say they are God-fearing and believe in the law and believe in the Constitution. believe in upholding the law. How can you say you uphold the law and believe in God and you broke into a government office and sat in someone's desk and took things out of their office, a government office? That's theft. It's breaking and entering and it's theft. But yet you're a law-abiding citizen. And you had people who were in government, people with decent professions, police officials who were caught. And as you hear this New York mayor saying, no one is getting ready to wreak havoc in New York and get away with it. That's the point. Doesn't matter what you think of Mr. Trump. You agree or disagree. You don't have any business breaking the law. You can't say you believe in God and you're this and that, and you believe in the Constitution and amendments if you would go break into a government office and take pictures of breaking into an office and being in these people government offices and send that message to the world that that's okay and that's appropriate behavior. That is not appropriate behavior. And if you were a police officer, sheriff, deputy, or any other random citizen, you knew that was wrong. And these are the type of people who aid and support Mr. Trump. And that's a problem. So you're no different than anybody that walked into a store, held somebody up at gunpoint, stole out the store, defrauded somebody. How are you different? See, that's where America is jacked up. It's the judgment of other people and sit in judgment of people, but yet you would go and storm the gate at the Capitol and act as if that was not a crime because you are aiding Mr. Trump. That's foul. And that shows you are misdirected and that there's something wrong with you and you need to check yourself. Because you can't stand on one side of the road and say, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I believe in the law. I believe in the Constitution, the amendments. But then you would storm the gate and break into a government office. But then you'll down somebody else for breaking the law. How are you different than that person? You're not. That's my personal commentary. When I get more information pertaining to Mr. Trump and the arraignment today in New York City, I'll bring you an update pertaining to that said information. I pray that there won't be any upheaval in New York City or anywhere else in the United States because we are in dire straits right now. It's a lot going on in America with high rent, prices of items going up, food's high, rent's high, mortgages, bills are high. A lot of people are destitute. I fit in that category at the present moment as a United States citizen trying to find somewhere else to live. And right now it's hard to find anywhere to rent at this moment. And so I fit into that category and I know what it's like. And I'm just leaning on faith and prayer. God has brought me a mighty long way and I'm just leaning on faith. But as I said to someone, yesterday, the world was tainted before Mr. Trump got into office. When he got into office, the world was tainted. And some believe that he brought greatness to the country as the president. I don't see a difference of when he was in office because people were nasty, vile, and using his mantra while wreaking havoc and pretending to be great citizens. I don't see a difference. And as I said, everyone's entitled to his or her opinion. But United States is jacked up right now. And there are a lot of people who are suffering, whether they work, don't work, in between jobs, in between a place to live, homeless, working, trying to survive. It's dire out here right now. And we don't need anyone in a political capacity who does not have respect for man and woman and child, who is vile by the tongue, who is promoting violence. That's not somebody we need in office. That's not somebody we need walking around, period. Because we have a lot of tainted people. We have a lot of people who are green followers who cannot think for him or herself. And that's all they need is to follow in behind the wrong person And then next thing you know, they're no different than, as I said, anybody else that commits a crime. It's just the way it is. You call a spade a spade. And I am not a Trump fan. I do not like his tongue. I do not like his attitude. And for him to be damn near 80 years old, he is still just as ignorant as he was when he ran for office and as he was as the United States president. And he feels like he's above the law, and he has gotten away with numerous crimes. And he is a whoremonger. He's a liar. He's a defrauder. And he's a thief. And he is vile at the tongue. And he's a mischief maker. And he incites mischief. And I don't see how anybody feels like that's somebody that should be the president and that's somebody that's great for America. That is not somebody that's great for America. To me, he is no different than a nosy Karen, nosy Joe out here stirring up trouble. He's no different than the bully on the playground, in the schoolhouse, or the person that bullies people on social media. He is the same. And any person that's facing charges in a federal court and that will say anything vile about the judge shows you he has no respect for the court or the judicial process. And the average person right now goes into court. It doesn't matter what he or her has heard about the judge. You don't say anything disrespectful to the judge while you're standing in the courtroom, because that is the person that will hold your fate. And because you were the president, you think it's okay to say vile things about the judge when the judge doesn't know you from a can of paint. And that shows you he has no respect for the law. That's the last person you want to get on your bad side, is the judge, the presiding judge. And it shows you he has no respect to say, oh, he doesn't like me. Why? Because he's a judge. That's his job. So it doesn't matter if it's you, Pookie, Ray, Joe, Blow, Karen. That's his job, to be the officiating judge. And as I said, it just amazes me that people still uphold this man and feels like this country is so great with him as the president. I don't see how you could think that. Because we had a lot of crazy nonsense to go on while Mr. Trump was the president. Nasty behavior from others. And I don't say that he's the cause of it, but I think he helped exacerbate their behavior. But in the end, it's your choice to behave a certain way. It's on you, how you want to carry yourself. And I can talk to anybody, whether they are Baptist, Muslim, Catholic, Republican, non-political. I treat people accordingly. But one thing you cannot do is make me agree with you on certain things, whether it's politics or not. But I judge people accordingly on how they act and how they behave and how they speak. And when you have no respect for people, to me, it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. I don't favor you. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $ Big Angie 129, Cash App. All stickers and chats are welcome during this live. I appreciate any donation, any support for this network. Thank you all so much. Sorry I have not been on, but as I said, I'm in transition right now, trying to find me somewhere new to move. So right now I'm just leaning on faith and trying to get myself together. And that's why I have not been on live, because I'm in transition right now. But I thank you all so much for supporting me and commenting on the community page. If you have anything you want to comment on the community page or anything you think I might want to discuss, because right now my mind's just not focusing on the channel right now, but I'm trying to get back in the loop of things because this is my network, but I've just been very busy in trying to move and everything. So I thank you for your support. God bless all of you. And when I get more information pertaining to what happens at the arraignment today pertaining to Mr. Trump, I will bring you that said information. But once again, he should have been handcuffed. And yes, he should have a mugshot like any other person arrested. Treat everybody accordingly. Treat everybody the same. Because in the end, you take away Mr. Trump's title as ex-president, business person, he's just a man. Or let me say a male. Thank you, Esley. He's just a male. He's no different than anybody else, and he's no better than anybody else. And that's why you cannot put people on pedestals, because in the end, they're human. And as the scripture says, they will surely disappoint you, man. And that's why you don't put your faith in man. People are people. Thank you for your time. You have been listening to The Vault XL. Thank you.